Morning, fellas. Grooming gangs. What are grooming gangs for any foreigners? Grooming gangs are people who happen to be 90% of follow one ideology. We know this from their surnames. You know, my surname is Bond, and it's a very old surname. It had to be given by the king, which I'm quite proud of, really. And I've never had reason to change it. I'm quite proud of my name, quite rightfully so, because it had to be given, and a few acres of land would be given usually when some past Christian hero had died for his king, fighting the Welsh, fighting the Vikings, or fighting the Muslims. If you put in grooming convicts in Google, put in UK, obviously, if you overseas, and grooming convicts, this is what comes up. Pages and pages of them. I mean, some of these are from like 10, 12 years ago. And as you see, there are a few white guys involved. These are all white guys, as far as I can tell, 6 of them. But you will see that the vast majority, I mean, there's a couple of repetitions there, but the vast majority of them happen to be darker skinned than average, shall we say. And if you look into the names, which I have got, there's 265 pages of convict names and dates and towns, and 90% of these convicts happen to follow one ideology because, you know, they emulate their prophet. So if his name's Mo, you know, and his young wife's name was Aisha, they tend to use these names repeatedly. And as I say, this one over here was particularly shocking because it happened in Telford in the Midlands, which is a very well-to-do area. It's full of businessmen, self-made men, people that work for the CPS, people that work for government jobs, you know, and solicitors and firemen occasionally. People are really high-paying jobs, like social workers on 60, 70 grand a year, health visitors. All these sorts of people tend to live in Telford, or nicer areas, of course. I mean, some people have even compiled some nice little lists there. But this is what comes up, and I didn't put white grooming gangs. I just put grooming gangs, and of course a few of them happen to be white-skinned. But these are some of the poor victims. Like this pair of girls actually died in a fire in posh Telford. Here we are. This is there we go. Silent Voices of Telford Grooming Horror. These groomers, these sexual abusers, were kebab men and taxi drivers and drugs dealers. This is what we see with these people. Like Merkel might have imagined that she was bringing in loads of like doctors and loads of engineers, but the fact is all you get with open borders is the worst of the worst, as one black man told me. You do get the worst. The worst, the criminals, the people that they don't really want there, the people that have managed to rob kind of a few €1,000 to pay for their passage, their illegal passage. As it says, it may never be known in Telford the full extent. This is one of the guys. I think this guy escaped. 5 deaths were linked to the shocking rape epidemic, including the mother and sister of one of the girls killed alongside her in an arson attack. One of these, Pakistani heritage Muslims, Asians, they actually, here's the murderer. That's the one who actually set fire to a family's house and killed the daughters and the mother. There was only the father out at work. He killed everybody that was in the house because he got the idea she was going to go to the police, which she had. She had been to the police, and he'd been raping her since she was 13. And he thought, well, terrorise them, kill them all, or shut them up by frightening them. But he ended up killing the whole family. Azir al-Mahmoud was given life for murdering the family. Well, it's not enough. It's not enough for doing that to people. Here we are. This is one of the little girls that died. It doesn't just happen to white girls. It happens to us too. Well, yeah, there's also rape in their community, but their girls are viewed as being, almost worthless, like livestock in their book. It clearly states they're worth well under half of a man. Here, one daughter of the Pakistani immigrants told us, the first time I was raped, I was only 11. I didn't know what sex was, and that was a Pakistani heritage girl. I went from being an angel child to staying in bed wanting to die. Very shameful, that. It's even more shameful in their ideology to be rapes or to be abused than it is in ours. I've still never told my family. If I died, my dad wouldn't be able to show his face in the mosque. Well, so what? So what, love? Here we go. Oh, here we are. Here's one guy, at least, who's speaking up against grooming. I'll try and put links underneath. As I say, it's from, this girl's a bit young, but it's from the age of 10. There have been 10 and 8-year-olds attacked and raped. Because it's in their ideology, they're allowed to do this to us. All us non-members of this ideology are animals, are kuffar, crap, are the lowliest of beasts. That's what it calls us in their book. Lowliest of beasts, liars, perverts. Kill them wherever you find them. Take their kids, take their houses. This is what their book says. Here we are. This is another girl that died. And if you think it was a fake road accident. But I'll put a link underneath so you can read it, obviously. Here we are. Here's the list of the victims. Yeah. She was pregnant at 14 to that killer. And they ended up setting fire to the house. See, it would be a shame to do this to one of their girls, but if they did it to like a victim, like a sex slave, they were acting like the prophet, because he had sex with loads and loads of kids, captives, terrified, shaking little girls. It's in their book, you can't deny it. There we go, there's the newspaper headlines. So I'll call it that, mate, but if you want to look, put in UK grooming convicts and all these faces will come up, and you see there's not many. There are white men done with this, but they're only like 8 or 9% of the 265 page lists. These are some of the girls over here, something else to this. These are some of the girls that spoke out. I think these are from the Free Girls documentary, which kind of provoked the Manchester bombing. But you'll see pages and pages of them, and the only people that speak out about it are Tommy Robinson, Paul Golding of Britain First and Jada, and Katie Hopkins about her rape squads. These are the only people I know of that are brave enough to speak out, and they've had their life threatened. You know, Tommy's had a bomb squad after him. Tommy's had an IED assassin squad after him. He's been beaten up. He's had his front teeth kicked out. Paul Golding's been set up and thrown in jail. You see, there's loads and loads of them. All these people from this ideology, wherever they're from, believe it's all right to do this. There's a white guy over here, just off screen. I won't try and hide it. See, there are some white guys included. He's light skinned, but I suspect they've lightened the picture. We do that sometimes. Oh no, yeah, there are some white men here. There are 6 white men involved. But 91% of them are not white men. 91% of them follow one particular ideology. And I'm sure from the pictures, you can guess which ideology I'm talking about. Okay, there you go, guys. Just wanted to fill you in. It's not nonsense. It's not racism. They're allowed to do this to our girls. But obviously, by European and Christian culture, we are not allowed to do it to any girls, because it would be seen as very cowardly, unmanly, and just disgusting, isn't it? It's just disgusting. It is to me, anyway. To get off with a young girl who's willing and knows what's going on, you know, that for a young man would be quite good, especially if he was attractive. That would be, you know, his mates would pat him on the back for getting off with such a lovely girl. But to actually like rape them and abuse them and threaten them with death is just not acceptable to anyone from the West. You know, I've been young and I've got off with nice young girls, and not this young, but, you know, nice teenage girls when I was a young lad. And you know, sometimes it's a no. You know, sometimes it's a no, and that's the rules of the game, isn't it? But sometimes, if you're very nice and they like you, sometimes it's a yes. And that's how it's meant to be, isn't it? See you guys. Bye-bye.